So I'm going to call on, I'm sure there are a lot of people here who want to know a lot more, and we'll leave the questions for now, like I said, because it looks like our speakers have so much to give, and they're taking time, and we're still trying to manage the time. We don't want to keep you here for the whole day. So I'd like to call next on Mr. GB Onitilo. He wants to talk briefly about the role of the commercial department in airline operations and related career opportunities. And then I'm sure he'll be able to answer some of your questions by the time he starts talking. Mr. GB, sir.
Keep clapping, please.
Okay. I'm wondering why they had to leave me as the last person. Two more people. Why do you have to post commercial towards the end? Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and students in the house. Basically, I'm not doing any slideshow anyway. I'm just going to do something a bit more engaging and interactive because it says Aviation Careers Conference. So it's about talking about the department of commercial and also the opportunities that exist. So which means we have to break it down well enough to the students in the house, the ones in secondary school aspiring, and the ones probably out of higher institution also aspiring. And commercial department of an airline, I will say, is the heartbeat of the airline. And commercial is because over the years, when they talk about aviation and airline, three key areas is what people always talk about: the pilot, the cabin crew, and the engineers. And everybody feels that's what airline is all about. So because people see the cabin crews, the way they dress, they look sassy, they look hot, everybody wants to be like them. People see the pilots, the way they look sharply dressed, and an average young person wants to be a pilot. He wants to fly the aircraft. And when you see the engineers, the technical work they do, it's like, I think that's the only thing. But the funny thing is, a lot of other people have talked about different parts of the airline business, airworthiness. Somebody has spoken about corporate planning. Somebody has also talked about ground handling. Somebody has talked about air traffic control. There are a whole lot of side. Some of those some of those core business has to even do with the regulators themselves. But we'll just stick to the airline as a whole. Commercial department, it's the key department that talks about revenue generation. The pilots, the engineers, the fuel, people handling fueling, finance. There is no business anywhere if we don't have customers patronizing us. There's no business anywhere. The bulk of the revenue that you will the money that you will ask to come into the business is going to come in through commercial activities. And if there are no commercial activity, there is no reason for being in business. You are just like a man that wants to open a shop. You open a shop, you do into buying, selling of groceries and all that. You put all your grocery there, but nobody is coming to patronize. Nobody is buying. You just have all those things on the shelf. So what does the commercial department actually do? I will look at the commercial department of an airline from 5 key areas. Then I will relate it to the skills sets needed, the competency needed for you to be able to function in this light. 5 areas I will look at. I will look at marketing and product. Marketing and the product that you sell. I will look at sales and distribution. I will look at network and revenue. I will look at commercial systems, governmental and international affairs. Let's talk. The first one I will talk about is the marketing and product. Marketing and product. We are at an age where If some of you are very active on social media, whether Facebook, Instagram, as long as you are on all those marketing platforms, you might be seeing banners just popping up on your page. Banners of some airlines, maybe KLM, maybe Air France, popping up. They send you deals. Fly to London for so price. All those things popping up. It's marketing. They are engaging you. You see them on social media. You see them on TV, radio, marketing, pushing the product in your face. In the era of social media, it's even more engaging. You'll just see things pop up on your Facebook page, Instagram page, in your email. You are wondering how they have access to your email. You even get text messages. You are wondering how is that happening. That's the work they do in commercial department. We have to put in your face what we have to sell, what we have compared to the competition. What makes us better than the competition? So marketing, all the activities that are geared towards getting you to patronize us. Also, the airline must have a product. What am I selling? Am I selling business class? Am I selling economy? Am I selling excess baggage? Am I selling more leg room? So there's also a department or unit called product development. They're the one that will come up with different things to sell because different customers have different needs. Just like the flying doctor. They are selling a product or service. That's what they are selling. So they might be partnered. She said something that there are some that they will partner with commercial airlines and set up a part of that within the aircraft for you to be able to accommodate a passenger to fly. So it's a product. There might be an airline that has that product. So there are people that evolve products for the airline. The kind of things, maybe during Valentine, for example, they can evolve a Valentine Day promo. November is coming. A lot of airlines are going to do Black November sales. Normally, when you buy a flight to London for 300,000, Black November sales, you might be buying it for 100,000, 150. But be careful. When you buy it, that ticket might be restricted. You might not be able to make any change. Once you don't travel on that day, you're on your own. No refund, no change, no nothing. If you want to change, you might end up paying 500,000 naira. So there are some people involved in that strategy. For example, who are the people that really travel? Where are they? Who are the people that travel? That's what people in product and marketing do. They will do a demographics. Maybe the people that travel, if you look at the statistics online, the bulk of the people that travel, they are between the age of 35 to 50. And most of them, you can find that demographics online. So what kind of strategy are you going to use to capture them? To be able to get them to patronize your products. So that's what people in marketing and product do. And this day, you also have those in sales and distribution. Salespeople, they are the ones that come up with what kind of fares am I going to sell in the market? They do competitors analysis. How much is Air France selling? How much is Royal Air Maroc selling? The salespeople are out there gathering intelligence, gathering customer feedback on our pricing. What kind of pricing are we going to introduce to the market? What kind of strategy are we going to introduce to the market? Distribution. You know, before we were talking about distribution. Sales and distribution goes together. In the airline industry, 80% of what airlines sell is through travel agents. They call something billing settlement plan. 80% of airlines, distribution is the channel through which you sell what you want to sell. You know, earlier somebody spoke about ticketing being under operations, under ground operations or whatever. It's a channel. There are different channels through which you sell. You can sell on the internet, e-commerce. You can sell through travel agents. Travel agents are everywhere. There are over 1,000 IATA travel agents in Nigeria. So you can imagine an airline that wants to sell to about 15, 20 million people that travel. Can he have offices in 1,000 places? It's going to impact on their revenue. So what they do is they have different channels of distribution. The agents, 80% of their distribution channel. They also have offices at the airport. Some of them have offices in hotels. It's a channel. Some of them is online. So Sales and distribution basically has to do with we gather intelligence on pricing, how we want to engage the market, how we want to access the market, how we want to gather the customers, so that you now have channels, different channels of distribution that you use to get your clients. So you also have network planning. When you talk about network planning, you are talking about the people that plan how you will fully utilize the aircraft on different routes. If it's a 45 minutes journey, for example, why do I need a Boeing 737-800? How efficient is that aircraft? Is it going to be efficient in terms of the kind of fuel it burns? Or, for example, an airline is thinking, because some airlines make decisions based on politics. I want to fly to Akure. You carry a 737 to fly to Akure. How many people fly to Akure? What is the commercial viability? So the people in network planning, revenue management, there's an department also called revenue management. What they do is that they look at the salespeople will say this is the price we want to sell tickets. So revenue management looks at the pricing. And they run an analysis with route planning and all that. And they run an analysis and look at, is it profitable? Is it viable? Must we go on this route? Must we use this aircraft? Must we sell at this price? How viable is taking a 737, Boeing 737-800 to, what do you call it, Ondo, Akure? How many passengers can we carry? What is the commercial viability of Akure? It's a civil servant state. If we carry that aircraft there, maybe 20 people out of a capacity of about 160. How profitable are we going to be? So, commercial department does that analysis. It does that market intelligence, gather data based on the operating statistics of the aircraft to determine if you should fly on a particular route, if you should use a particular aircraft, if you should sell. Revenue management and pricing also determines if this will be profitable, if this pricing will be okay, if we will break even or not. Then you also have commercial systems. Technology. Every airline you see uses airline systems for them to be able to know how many seats are available on a particular flight, for example. The travel agents use what you call global distribution system. That's what they, like Amadeus, Sabre, Galileo, some of you have heard about that. So those systems are what they use to make booking. And they use it to have access into the airline systems called Central Reservation System, CRS. That's where they can pull seats, they can book as agents. When you go online, it's the same thing. You are having access to the airline inventory. So the airline sets up a strong commercial system that segments different level of seats in the aircraft, whether it's business, in business, because you know you can be in economy and you pay different price. You are in economy class, you are paying 200. Somebody is paying 500,000. It's the same cabin. They will not give that. They will give the person jollof rice. It's jollof rice they will give you too. Because you pay 500,000 does not mean they will give you. So you can be in economy, and the way the revenue management and pricing graduated the fares is different, because there are times you will see V class, U class. They will graduate it like a pyramid. V, L, T, M, B, and the pricing is different. And every of those things have only like 9. Most of them have 9 availability of those things that you see. So when you take it, at the end of the day, it's going to turn to 0. So when you book, the airline sets up a system that can manage that process, that is robust. 247 is working. When it goes to 0, it switches you to another. So multiple people all over the world can book at the same time. So that system is so powerful. It's the same system that drives check-in at the airport. When they want to check in, it's that same commercial system that is used for checking in passengers at the airport. It is what is used also for departure control. When you want to actually close the flight, to know how many people that have checked in, before you can do your flight closure and everything, captain and every other person, everything starts. So that system is so robust. It's the same system that they will use to change airline tickets. So there are people that have competencies that are even sitting in those departments, managing all those things. If they don't close a flight, the captain cannot take off. Because you need to verify a whole lot of things. How many people are in the aircraft, the weight, the load. I know, you give me 5 minutes. I know. So commercial, so you also have government and international affairs. There are a lot of regulatory issues that airlines must adhere to. You have to deal with NCAA, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority. You have to deal with Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. You have to deal with NAMA. All these agencies, there's another unit that engages government, Ministry of Aviation. Maybe they want to launch a new route. You have to file your flights, do a lot of engagement through NCAA and Ministry of Aviation. You also flight plan, maybe through NAMA. So that department, this commercial department is humongous. When you break down the organogram of a commercial department, it's humongous. And the next question you begin to ask yourself is, how do I develop capacity as somebody in secondary school to be able to work in these departments? I talk about commercial systems, which is more of IT-based related job. I spoke about sales and distribution, which means as a salesperson, the sales work everywhere is the same. But when you now get into a particular industry, you now have to understand how things work in that industry for you to be able to function well. So most of you that want to do, for example, that you have very good skills in processing data, doing analysis. You know how to use Excel. If you can develop yourself very well in the use of Excel, using Excel for analysis, data processing and management, some of you can actually work very well as route planners. Because the bulk of what they do, they use the people that plan routes, operating statistics of an aircraft, that determines where you should put an aircraft, the viability of a route. So if you understand the use of using Excel, I'm sure a lot of you have started using Excel, but you must you must begin to develop capacity for advanced Excel usage for revenue assurance. So if you begin to develop those kind of competencies, there are now courses on IATA portal. If you go to IATA portal, you can see all the courses. They're available on IATA portal. For you, if you want to be a route planner, a schedule planner, you also have people that plan schedules within that same network planning department. They plan the schedule. What time should how many flights should we have daily? What time should we take our aircrafts? So if we take the aircraft Lagos, Abuja by 12:15, why don't we do Abuja, Sokoto to now return back? And so there are people that plan that as well. So your understanding of some Microsoft Office tools is essential, aside from the courses you go and take on IATA portal. If you want to work in the sales department, for example, it would be nice also for you. Under sales, you also have, I said distribution, you have ticketing, reservation fares and ticketing, reservation. There are courses you take in a lot of aviation schools that you go and get basic understanding of fares, ticketing, and reservation. Then you understand the usage of Amadeus, Sabre, and all the airline. When you get to the airline has its own system that they use. So most of this, the basic requirement, people will say most airlines these days, the reason why most of them use all those first degrees is because there are too many people bidding for jobs. But your best bet, if you know these are the things you want to do, you go to the IATA portal, IATA.org. When you go to, I look for IATA courses related to some of these things that I've spoken about. Whether you want to do things in commercial systems, you understand what commercial systems means now. It's very holistic. People that manage the system, the administration, central reservation system, network planning, schedule planning, revenue management, pricing. Those in sales department, people in charge of sales and marketing, reservations, fares, and ticketing. And I also talk about marketing as a whole itself. People that do the digital, look, there are courses in digital marketing. If you know how to do digital marketing well, you will function. You don't have to have any sound airline experience for you to be a digital marketer. As long as you can know how to use things like search engine optimization, Google, to drive traffic, to get to the demographics that travel, banner designs, people that can design banners. You can design banners to capture the minds of people, know when to push out what. Digital marketing capacity. If you can develop digital marketing capacity, it's all well and good for you in the area of marketing. Also, I failed to mention something, public relations and communications. There are people Their competency is corporate communication, to be able to engage the public on behalf of the customers. There are PR skills that you develop as well. There are courses you can take for public relations, corporate communication, for you to be able to engage the public, do write-ups that will stimulate engagement for the airline. So, in all, it's a very broad department that if you draw the organogram under each one, you begin to look at how many people does an airline employ in commercial department. They are among us. Because the bulk of what drives revenue, profitability, sustainability, longevity comes through this department. It's a huge amount, and the department also interacts with every other department as well for balance and stability and profitability of the airline. But one of the greatest challenges we have had in the Nigerian aviation, in the airline sector in Nigeria, is because there has not been enough investment in capacity in this particular department. Because people have only seen it as, let's just do sales and marketing. It's beyond that. And that's why you have longevity of airlines but the industry is limited in terms of people that have these skill sets. So it's a great opportunity for some of you in secondary school, or some of you that are also aspiring. There's a great opportunity there. There are airlines that are looking for commercial analysts, systems managers, digital marketing experts. All the airlines are always looking for these experts, people that have these skill sets. So don't be too caught up. You must be a pilot. If you don't have the resources on funding to do that, there are other units and departments you can take advantage of. Thank you very much.
I was told that if I leave GB, he will talk from here till eternity. And he loves it.
Please get us your notebook.
His name is GB Onitilo. You can find him on Facebook, and I tell you, some of the things that he puts up on Facebook are awesome. It's not all this, but if you want to be inspired, especially about life, I suggest run up to him. I will collect his email address so that we can reach out to him too. I want to call on the representative of Muritala Mohammed International School. Please come and pick up your copy.
No time. Please keep clapping.
Let's clap. It's not easy to write a book and give them out to people like this. Please don't just let it decorate your library. Let's make sure that it is read. Thank you very much.
Please, a handshake with the...
Thank you. We still have... we're going to leave the best for last. I'm sure some of you are interested in piloting, and we're going to leave that for last. But before we bring up the pilots, we have 2 pilots in the house. And, there's somebody asked a question about military piloting. I'm sure they'll be able to cover that when they talk. One is a fixed-wing pilot, one is a helicopter pilot. Even though starting off is the same. But they will talk about that shortly. But we'll leave them for last. But I'd like to call on Mr. What's his other name now?
Just call him Fine Man.
He's the ground operations manager of Ghana Air. Of course, he's a fine man. He's my brother.
Just say the handsome man.
I won't bite my
If you don't know the name, the handsome man.
No, I know the name. I know the name. It's not that I don't know.
The name is pronounced Etete. Good afternoon. My name is Obong Akam Etete. I have to call it so you know who I am. Of everybody, with due respect, Captain, everybody that have spoken here, I've heard people say 30 years in aviation, some plenty years. Man, I've done only 20 years. I've done only 20 years. But those 20 years I've been very fortunate. I've worked in like 5 companies, 5 airlines. I've applied for a job in only 2 of them. I've practically applied for a job in only 2 of them. The other 3 have been called to come and work. I feel very fortunate. I never had this opportunity, and it has just blown my mind. You guys, I hope you people are not looking at the glamour. You guys are actually taking notes, actually understanding that this is a life-saving opportunity for you guys, a career-changing opportunity. I never had this opportunity. I actually started, after school, I started as a washerman. Fortunately, I now got a job in an airline. I was paid 2,000 naira every week. I worked there for like 6 months. It went to 60,000 naira after a while. Then I moved up, and by the grace of God, I'm where I am now. Happy, better, enjoying my life. Aviation gives you that. I'm the head of ground operations for Dana Air, by the grace of God. And someone else, the station manager in Lufthansa, talked about ground operations. Everybody have talked about every angle of aviation. There's nothing new, I would say. All I will say is, if you've heard all of that and you're happy, and you go home, I had a good seminar, you have lost it. Where I started to where I am now, I'll just give you a brief. I've worked as a loader, actually loading planes. I've worked selling tickets. And by training and experience, certified flight dispatcher, I have worked in those kind of times. We load aircraft, cargo aircraft. I've worked as a cargo officer. I've worked as a cargo commercial person, loading aircraft at night. People are sleeping. We are waiting for the aircraft. 3 days, I'm not at home. I've lost like 3 girlfriends when I was younger because of that. Seriously. I'm not in the house for 3 days, and I come back, she drops a note. I can't date a guy like this. And she leaves. I've slept in Sudan when the war was going on. We were moving military people there. Next to my room, there was a bomb that came up there. I flew on the aircraft because I couldn't sleep again. I did 4 rotations. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stay back there. I've done all those kind of things. When I say I'm fortunate, I know what I'm saying, and I've enjoyed this industry. All these departments, professions, like everybody have said, I mean, it doesn't have to be a pilot. You don't have to be a cabin crew. You don't have to be an engineer. There are other things. But if you can be a pilot, please, by all means. If you can be a cabin crew, by all means. If you can be an engineer, by all means. But believe me, maybe I should have been a pilot, but I'm happy at what I'm doing now. I've enjoyed myself in this industry. Aviation is beautiful. That's all I'll tell you. Ground operations is actually that department that drives everything everybody does. When the commercial man sells that ticket, when the pilot is ready to fly, when they're all ready to do everything, it stops there. I have to move that aircraft. I have to put the passengers in the aircraft. I have to check them in. I have to board them. I have to make sure that 20 of them are the 20 in the aircraft. I have to make sure that aircraft is serviceable. The engineers will do it. But the guy that is called a turnaround coordinator, please write it and check it. That's what he needs to do before that aircraft leaves. He makes sure the catering guy is there, the ground handler is there, the pilot is okay there, everybody is there before he now says, this aircraft can board and this aircraft can go. He makes sure all those things work. The load controller is another person that makes sure that aircraft actually flies the way the pilot wants it to fly. The loads that are brought, passengers, bags, and cargo, he makes sure he calculates where they should stay and where they should be in the aircraft so that when the pilot wants to take off, he takes off where he has calculated to take off because the load have been evenly spread. Ground operation does a lot of other things, all of them. But just so you know, under ground operations, we have customer service. Under ground operations, we have the check-in, we have the boarding, we have the baggage handlers, we have the cargo officers, the ramp officers, the turnaround coordinators, even the GSE operators, the guys that move those tractors, the guys that move those dollies so that you can load. Then, generally in operations, you have flight operations, the dispatchers. I'm very proud that I'm one because we actually tell these pilots what to do, seriously. We tell them how to fly. We tell them why to fly the way they actually do. And that's why it's beautiful. So, we are here now. It's a career seminar. It's not glamour. I just want us to understand that all of us have spoken and we've told you all these things. We all started from scratch. I started as a loader. I was loading planes. I rose from there. In 20 years, I am where I am now. It's by the grace of God. And it is because I love the job. I didn't look at any other thing. My mind was fixed. This is what I want to do. I took all the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I pushed on. You're in school, you're just coming up. The last speaker spoke about all those things in commercial. You can hear it fine. If you don't read, if you're not ready to go that route, and you just want to, because the air traffic controller says it pays so much money, let me go and be an air traffic controller. I went to take that exam. I failed. And I walked away. I said, okay, ma'am, you failed this one. Go and look for something else. And I continued where I was. I just love this industry. And I want you all to understand that what Mama J is doing is beautiful. Aviation is beautiful. It's glamorous. It pays you very well. Somebody said that he has gone to 44 countries. That's what aviation can do for you. You can't find it anywhere else. You meet people. I have met so many people. I'm sure Mr. Notilode has met so many people that he wouldn't have met if he was not in aviation. And when you meet these people like you have met him, you take advantage. I took advantage of so many people I met, and I'm still taking advantage of them, even till now. No matter how small, if that young guy comes to the aircraft to fly, he's my customer. I need to tell him, welcome, sir. I'm telling you. Because that's our training. That's where the customer service, not because he's a little boy, you say, I beg, pass here, John. No. You lose him, you lose a lot of people. Someone else will see you treat him that way, and you say, no, that's not. Training in aviation is, everything that we have said here is customer service. You need to understand what you're doing. You need to be humble. You need to be patient. You need to just be a nice guy. Come on. That's the whole thing. There's no posing in aviation. There's no big manism here. What we do is serve you. We are servants. But we enjoy the servant because at the end of the day, we come out and we are happy. We are big boys. And that's what all of you can be. From the pilots to the cabin crew to the engineers to the ground handlers to the loaders, the guy that loads your bag into the aircraft. He's giving you customer service. If he destroys your bag, you will complain. If he handles that bag well, you won't complain. You will come back to that place. So aviation is all about customer service. It's all about relationship. It's all about love. That's all we do there. And I don't know what else to say here. There's no other department. There's nothing else I can say. All I did was try and give you guys the departments, the units you can see underground operation. And I'll go through it again. There's customer service. There's the passenger and check-in. There's the boarding. There are the baggage handlers, the load controllers, cargo officers, the ramp officers, the turnaround coordinator, the GSC operators. Generally in operation, there's flight dispatcher and crew scheduling officer. And I just want to add here that a vital knowledge you need to have in aviation is it's a highly regulated industry. You can't just wake up and move. Something guides every process, everything that you do. When that engineer starts his job, if he's not following the process, he knows what will happen. But if he's following the process, he'll tell you, in 30 minutes, I'll be done, because he knows what process he's following. And for him to follow that process, he needs to read. When the commercial man tells you, in 15 years, we will get 1 trillion, because he has followed a process. And that's what happens in aviation. If you're not a process-driven person, with due respect, you have no business in this industry. But I'm sure all of us here are process-driven. We wake up in the morning, some of us brush our teeth first, some of us have a bath first, some of us eat first. Those are all processes that you follow. So in life, you all have a process and you follow it. Aviation is where we should all be. I will preach it. I will say it. I've enjoyed myself. 20 years, I'm still counting. It's not been enough. I'm still going to go on. And I want you guys to join us. Thank you very much.
No, I'm not taking only the mic. All right. I won't wash my hands. After shaking him 2 months, I won't wash my hands. After 2 months, I can wash the hands so that I can get some stuff. All right, before you move straight, let me announce this. Please, next month on the 30th, we're going to be having cabin crew. Of course, it's coming up right here on the 30th, next month. Yes, that one is going to be hot. So prepare yourself. Get yourself ready. You can say something about it.
All right. We're not going to. We won't be talking about cabin crew today. If you were here because you wanted us to talk about cabin crew, no, we're not talking about cabin crew. You can see that there's been so much said, about so many professions, and we won't leave here if we now add cabin crew. But we have a forum next month. It's our cabin crew fair. And I want to encourage you, if that's where you're looking at, be there. Don't miss it for anything. Just make sure you're here, because I can tell you, you'll have an awesome time. You will meet people who have been cabin crew and have gone into other industries and what have you. And you will see that there's so much to it. So for cabin crew, we won't be talking about them today because we have next month to do that. So please make it a date on the 30th to join us. Before we take our pilots, I want to call on Captain Deleore. He's a father. He's been with us since morning. He's, come here to support us. And I believe that he's been in this industry for a long while and is still relevant, even though you may think that he's not a very young man. He's been in the industry before I joined, and I know that I've spent some time. But he has a word to share with us, and I'd like you to just listen to him. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Dele Ore is my name. Once upon a time, the elephant flew. Today, the eagles don't even dare to fly. But now, I am a liar. From fry pan to fire. But I want to let you know that if the son of a poor farmer carpenter can make it, so you can. In 1963, the people and government of Nigeria picked up a 20-year-old boy. And here I am today. The book that I've just given out, it took 15 years to write. It is the story of aviation in Nigeria and the prospect that you have. The subject matter we are discussing here today. But it is the story of my life, entitled The Learned Commander. If you get into aviation, and I plead, I pray that you make up your mind, and it should be well with you. The DG, through the representative, said you have to have a passion. I said, no, it's more than a passion. I never had a passion, but I had a dream. But if you have a dream, you must wake up before the dream flies away. Wake up to actualize your dream. The third chapter of that book is I Had a Dream. Mama J is going to be giving the link to where you can really access that book electronically. It might cost you some naira or dollars, because I've given out over 500 copies free of charge already. Actually, the very first book that I wrote, and I have written 12 of them right now, by now, issues in Nigeria's aircraft accidents, where I look at all the 87 accidents as at that time that Nigeria had experienced. That was 2009. As at that time. Since then, we've added one or two. Somebody was congratulating the industry for having no accident recently. And I said, no, we don't need to congratulate ourselves. Because you haven't had an accident doesn't mean that the industry is safe. An accident is the last straw of a safety decline. If you please if you manage to get into the industry, from day one, try to put on record your activities. That's exactly what I did. I didn't fly for too many years, just 28 years only. But since then, I have not left aviation till today. And by the grace of God, just last January, I was celebrating my 76th birthday. That was the day that book was actually introduced to the public. It was launched later on in April. The issues in Nigeria's aircraft accident, I printed 1,000 copies for the industry. I didn't sell any one of them. It was for my contribution to the industry. So I implore you, please, whatever you are doing, document them. From the very first day I got into the industry, the very first flight, and the last flight, which was a mutiny on the deck. If you get that book, you will read it. Everything was documented. If I wasn't meticulous about putting things on record, it could have been impossible to be able to have my books, 12 of them already, in the printers. I don't want to belittle the issue. A lot has been said already today. The day is far gone. And I was not invited though. I just came to get crash when one army boat told me something was going on. And I said, what is going on? They said, oh yes, career counseling. I said, well, I will be here to contribute my own portion. Thank God I wasn't asked to go away. This is a project I have been involved in for more than 30 years through the instrumentality of the Rotary Club of Isolo. Those of you who are in that Mushin, Isolo, the schools in that area, Majdia, and every September we had a similar program like this to synthesize and tell our children what is there in aviation. With very little, as you heard, and just cabin crew, engineering, air traffic control, and that's all. No. Aviation, as you have seen now, is more than that. We haven't said much about even what is there, career prospect in accident investigation. We haven't said anything about meteorology. It's a big thing, climatology, where you can grow up and even get a doctorate degree and you still right here in this industry. He wrote role of medical in aviation. The flying doctor, the young doctor has put us through part of what is it. But I need to add that really you must ask yourself. And if you have a little pen and paper, you can write and scribble it down, the kind of what I propagate as a rule of thumb. You ask on a daily basis, I am safe? That is a big question, which she was asking when you wanted to know the role of medicine in aviation. This is anybody who is going to be involved in aviation. Either you are loading the aircraft, or you are servicing, or you are putting fuel, or you are just cleaning the aircraft. More so those people who are going to operate the aircraft, service the aircraft. That is the question. I am safe. The idea really stands for illness. If you have any illness, this is the way you must assess yourself. Is it controllable? Is it permissible? The M, because I say I am. It's what I apostrophe M. The M is medication. If you are ill, that means you must be on some prescribed medication. So, S, have you slept well? Sleep, that is S, sleep. A, alcohol. Bottle, throttle, they don't mix in this business. Most of the things you do, in fact, the regulation will tell you 8 hours before you do certain things, don't touch the bottle. That's alcohol. F is fatigue. Yes. Most accidents as a result of human factor because you are fatigued. You operate a machine and you take off, you don't come back. Fatigue. And E is eating. You don't eating. If you haven't eaten, you have no business being on an aircraft. If you are eating the wrong thing, no business on an aircraft. So that's my rule of thumb, and I believe that that is what I want to summarize. But so many other areas in aviation that people have not mentioned today. I don't want to go into an area where they have mentioned. The electronics area, avionics, AIS, the automation part of this industry is so essential that you can catch in because everybody was playing around with their finger just a little while ago. You need to put it into useful purpose. And also, I want to proudly tell you that my very first grandchild happened to be a boy. Incidentally, I have 12 of them, 12 grandchildren. Yes, you won't believe it, because I have 12 children, 12 grandchildren. None of my children is in aviation. I didn't encourage them. But these grandchildren, they are something else. They don't even bear, most of them don't even bear my name. But this particular one, that I need to tell you the story because it's just like you people. At the age of 16, he wanted to be a pilot. He's been dreaming about it. Oh, he knows so much about Grandpa. And there in the UK where he was born, at this age, you don't even qualify to hold a driving license. How can you hold a pilot's license? So they sent him to engineering school. A year ago or so, or 2 years ago, he had matured. He came out 1-1 in aeronautic engineering. The best result in Europe. Immediately finished that, he pressed on now to go and be a pilot. Ended up as an experimental pilot. He designs the aircraft and flies the aircraft at the age of 21. I challenge you, if that poor boy could do it, any one of you could do it. I commend you, continue to learn, read anything, read about anything concerning aviation. The sky is the limit. Best of luck.